7 days. That's all it takes to shake the entire global economy. Now imagine this. The Strait of Hormuz shut down, not for a year, not for a month, just a 7 days. Stay till the end because what happens after those 7 days is not what most people expect. Welcome to the World Workstation, where we don't just follow the global events, we break down the what they actually mean for the world and for you. Let's start the video. Let's start with a simple fact. Nearly 20% of world's oil passes through one narrow route, that is a Strait of Hormuz. That means one thing. If this route stops, the world doesn't slow down. It reacts instantly. Now, let's break down step by step. Day 1. The moment the street is blocked, oil markets react within hours, not just because oil disappeared, but because uncertainty explodes. Stock markets begin to shake, government starts emergency meetings, and traders begin to panic. And this is not a future scenario, this is how a global markets designed to react on a day 2 and day 3. Now the real impact begins. Countries that depend heavily on imported oil start to feel pressure. Fuel prices rise, transportation costs increase, airline begins adjusting fares, and suddenly everything becomes slightly more expensive. You don't see the war, but you feel it in your daily expenses. Now let's talk about India. India imports a significant portion of oil. If Hormuz is disrupted, India doesn't stop functioning, but the cost of functioning increases. As the fuel prices rise, inflation pressure builds, government interventions becomes unnecessary. Now look at the China. China is one of the largest buyers of oil from this region. For China, this is not just an economic issue, this is a strategic risk, which is why China will not remain passive. Let's move forward. Day 2, day 4 to day 5. At this stage, the problem becomes global. Supply chains start getting disrupted, shipping costs increase, industries that depend on fuel starts slowing down, manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, all will begin to feel the impact. This is where the crisis moves from headlines to real life. Now here comes the critical question: can world replace Hormuz? Technically, yes, but practically not immediately. Alternative routes exist. Pipelines through Saudi Arabia transport through other ports, but they cannot handle the full volume instantly, and that gap creates the pressure. Now let's reach the most important phase, day 6 to day 7. At this point, the world is no longer reacting, it's adapting under the stress. Emergency oil reserves may be released. Government starts negotiations aggressively. Military presence increases in the region because this is not just about oil, this is about control. And this is the moment where decisions become dangerous because one wrong move can turn a controlled crisis into a full scale conflict. Now, Let's talk about the biggest misconception. Will Iran completely close the strait? Highly unlikely, because Hormuz is not just world's lifeline, it is also Iran's leverage. Closing it completely means losing control of negotiation power. Instead, what we are more likely to see is controlled disruption, partial restrictions, uncertainty, pressure, and enough influence global markets, but not enough to trigger the total collapse. Now, the final question is, who benefits from this? Higher oil price benefit exporting nations, energy companies gain, geopolitical influence increases for key players, but the cost is carried by everyday people. Higher fuel prices, higher living costs, economic uncertainty. So the real question is the Strait of Hormuz close. The real question is how much disruption is enough to change the global power without losing control? Because in the today's world, war is not always about the destruction, it is about pressure, it is about influence, it is about, most importantly, is about it is about control. So tell me, if this happens, do you think the world is prepared? Comment your thoughts below and subscribe to World Workstation, because we don't just explain the events, we reveal the systems behind them. Thanks for watching.